Perek Azov, DAF IN, sponsored the Refuah Shlema for Sarah Bas Dina. We begin with the Mishnah. Coins in circulation tend to deteriorate. The coins in ancient times were valued by their metal content. The Mishnah discusses how much a seller can deteriorate and still be sold at face value. Unlike merchandise where price fraud is a sixth, regarding coins there are different opinions. First is Rabbi Meir. He holds it can deteriorate up to 1/24th of its original size before it cannot circulate at face value. The second opinion is Rabbi Yehuda. He holds it can deteriorate up to 1/12th of its original size before it cannot circulate at face value. Third opinion is Rabbi Shimon. He holds it can deteriorate up to a sixth of its original size before it cannot circulate at face value. The next law of the Mishnah distinguishes between merchandise and coins. Unlike underpaid merchandise, where the seller has no time limit to retract, regarding coins the law is different. Since he is in possession of them, the law is, in the city where there are money changers, he can retract until he can show them the coin. In villages where there are no money changers, until Erev Shabbos, when he will use it for purchases. If the vendors refuse to accept them, he knows he was defrauded. Abaya holds that concerning merchandise, the distinction between cities and villages applies as well. Rava claims that one can always find, even in a village, an appraiser for a garment, but coins are the domain of only money changers. The next law of the Mishnah explains the law of defective coins. Number one, the one who circulated it should accept it back regardless how much time passed. The Gemara explains this is midas chasidus, since the time limit in fact did pass. However, even if another person refuses to take it back, the most the victim has is a complaint, no legal recourse. One who does not take back the coin is a nefesh ra, what we call a cheapskate, as long as it still circulates even with difficulty. The proof is one can redeem with this coin meiser sheni. However, he can only redeem the amount according to the lowest price he could get for exchanging this coin. Some vendors will not pay its full true value, let alone its face value. Chizkiah explains that meiser sheni worth less than a shava pruta can be redeemed only on a pruta chamura, that is a coin used already for meiser sheni. We assume that there is always room for a coin he used already, because the coins used are always larger than the amount redeemed. Certainly, if one does not use a coin equivalent to the amount of meiser sheni, he would not use one worth less. The Gemara discusses why there is a machlokas tanoim in the Mishnah as to what is ona by coins, and there is no machlokas by merchandise. Rava claims the Mishnah that discusses merchandise is only the opinion of Rabbi Shimon. Abaya claims, due to the importance of clothing, the buyer is prepared to forego a sixth. However, eroded coins that cannot be used at face value, the owner does not forego more than the amounts in the Mishnah according to each Tana. The next discussion concerns the law of how long one can keep an eroded coin. One cannot sell a seller once it loses more than the thickness of a shekel coin, which is half a seller, to unscrupulous people who will either try to pawn it off at face value or force it on others for its face value. Because it does not shrink in diameter, people will think it's still worth a shekel. Rabbi Ami adds, although a shekel that erodes to a dinar, half its value, it can be retained by its owner. If a seller erodes to the size of a dinar, it cannot be retained because of its large diameter. One has to use them as jewelry for children. However, this is only if the hole was made in the middle of the coin. But on the side of the coins, someone dishonest could sand it down and cause the hole to disappear. A seller that erodes to the limit of onah cannot circulate at face value unless the user is prepared to compensate the defrauded party's claim within the time limit. If it eroded more and uses it as a weight, it can mekabel tumah as a utensil. If it eroded to a point that is larger than a shekel, but more than the minimum amount of onah, then Rav Huna holds it must be destroyed since it still could be mistaken as a seller. Rav Ami holds it can be retained because it will not be mistaken.